gun? Did you say there was a gun on the top?
Yes.
Is this the famous weapon you were talking about?
No. Well, this one is fairly famous. It's the Bofors 40mm. It's probably the best anti-aircraft gun ever invented. Very advanced for its time. 360 degrees of rotation. And how it worked was that it would shoot a shell high into the air with the aim of bursting it near the aircraft, and then it would be the exploding fragments that would bring it down. You didn't need a direct hit. It's very hard to hit a moving object at that distance and that speed.
Oh, okay.
But all you need to do is come close to it. And
so there was the advantage of sort of not missing it, but almost intentionally shooting near it was that it would more likely fragments would hit.
Yeah, and this is also how that idea of bringing something down with shrapnel, this is also how a significant number of surface, like anti-aircraft missiles work today, is they get close to the aircraft and then they explode towards it, and then the shrapnel is actually, they don't need to have a direct hit on the aircraft.
Okay, so you can be a pretty bad hit.
Well, those things have guidance systems. This is like you're just aiming it and, trying to get it close.
Right, okay.
So Finland didn't have a radar system at the time, so this whole anti-aircraft setup has to be done through a network of observers, telephone lines, and, analog calculations. You had people with binoculars and rangefinders staked out on the top of buildings to, keep track of these aircraft. They would spot a plane and they would telephone a control center with the altitude, the type of aircraft, speed, distance, and position. Then the control center could pass this information on to the towers, again, via a telephone line, and the towers would spring into action.
Wow, this is quite a convoluted process. You'd have to hope that whoever they were ringing, who was then passing on the message, that the plane hadn't dropped its bomb by the time that call and the message got through.
Well, you set up these observation points as close to the border as possible.
Right.
And those people are actually relatively easy to train. You just basically train them in the basics of aircraft identification. You basically give them like a booklet of silhouettes so that they can say, okay, this is a bomber, this is a fighter, like this.
And then they hold it up to the sky as the plane's moving past.
Yeah. That's the same way that submarine captains identified ships too, was they'd have a silhouette chart. That they could tell, okay, this is a merchant ship from here, this is a warship from here. And then you train them in basic geometry, and you give them the tools, like a rangefinder, and it turns out to be pretty spot on.
Okay, so they can deploy their response accordingly.
Exactly.
So who was trying to get in? Who were the people that they were fighting off?
We'll get to the enemy later. I don't want to spoil the story.
Okay.
But the target that they were going after is the factory we saw in the video, which was an alcohol factory.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is Finland particularly boozy?
Finland is quite boozy. You have long winters. It's very cold. They prefer spirits, though they do drink beer. The Finnish drink beer. They like beer. So this was a huge state-owned facility responsible for making almost all the alcohol in Finland at the time.
Okay. Wow. So this is so why are they targeting?
Well, they didn't just make alcohol. They made this famous weapon. So, come on, you've got alcohol, bottling factory, World War II, famous. Any of this coming together? You want to take a guess what kind of weapon we're talking about? And it's not the sauna-off shotgun.
The vodka gun.
The vodka gun. I think that's just like a fraternity thing. I don't think that's an actual weapon.
The snow bomb.
I'm going to put both you and our listeners out of their misery. No, I'm not. I guess more misery.
The submarine. The submarine.
Yeah, that's Flak Tower factory. It's making submarines.
The alcohol boat.
The alcohol boat. Did you ever, I actually had this toy submarine as a kid that operated on baking soda, or was supposed to operate on baking soda. You're supposed to put in the baking soda and it sinks, and then some type of chemical reaction happens and it fills with gas and it pops up, and then it could never get it to work. It just sunk to the bottom of the bathtub.
Oh.
Yeah.
Baking soda is otherwise very versatile. You can use it for everything. You can clean your teeth with it. You can make your armpits smell nicer.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that why you always smell so nice?
I smell lovely. I
douse yourself in baking powder every morning. But you can't confuse it. There's baking soda and then there's baking powder, which is actually used for baking, right?
Oh, right. That's probably where I'm going wrong. And I shed quite a lot when I disrobe. My girlfriend hates it. She coughs a lot. It triggers her allergies.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not the.
But I smell great.
Yeah, but you smell great, and you're leavened.
Yeah.
So, we're talking about the Molotov cocktail.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
I know you're almost there.
That was a Finnish thing?
That was a Finnish thing.
Did they invent it?
Well, no, they didn't invent it. When World War II breaks out and Russia invades Finland, this factory switches from bottling vodka to making Molotov cocktails. Not that big a switch when you think about it. You already have all the bottles and the alcohols, the flammable liquid. You just need to add a little bit of tar, a little bit of gasoline. The 87 women and 5 men at this factory handcrafted, wait for it, 542,194 Molotov cocktails.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a lot of women to men. 87 to 5?
That's your takeaway point from this.
Those boys must have loved that working conditions.
And all the free alcohol. Well, I guess, can you drink this stuff once they're making Molotov cocktails?
Before the tar goes in, have a quick swig.
Yeah.
Though it might reduce the effectiveness.
Of the anti-aircraft gun.
Yeah.